Hey guys, so I just received this neat box from Emax. Inside is the all-new Tinyhawk 3 and basically a full FPV starter kit, radio controller, goggles, batteries, charger, everything you need. So this will be quite interesting to look at. So let's go through what's in the box and then afterwards go out and fly the Tinyhawk 3. Alright, let's start with the Tinyhawk 3, the quad itself. So these Tinyhawks have been on the market for quite a while and they have sort of been evolving and improving. One of the weak points was always that these things here where the motors are mounted on these spokes were breaking. So these look actually pretty beefy compared to the earlier versions. This should be absolutely fine. And another weak point was that the camera had some jello, and on my Tinyhawk 1 the camera was always falling out of the mount that was inside this one piece plastic thing. Was kind of annoying to put back. So this here looks much better. This is 3 pieces now. We have sort of the frame, a canopy, and a tiltable camera mount, so you can adjust the camera angle, which is a +2. By the way, there's a Runcam Nano inside here. The only maybe missed opportunity is that this doesn't fully cover the lens. Could have made this a little bit taller to really protect the lens, but actually that's the only flaw I can find in its design. Really looks very neat. It still has the pH 2.0, so I think Emax should maybe decide whether they will have a pH 2.0 or a GMB 27, because I think the Tinyhawk X had a GMB 27. And this is a bit annoying. So 2 different battery standards, and I think the GMB 27 would be performing better compared to the old pH 2.0 standard here. But apart from that, this is basically the good old Tinyhawk. I think the electronics are still the same. The board inside, the VTX, so 1S setup, 25 or 50 milliwatt VTX. This thing has been proven to be a fun little whip and performing quite well. So not too much. I would say it's just slight evolutions on the quad, because this is a solid platform and sort of the motto was never change a running system, so why not? This thing still looks pretty good and pretty up to date in 2021 and 2022. But what's new is what we have in the box here, the goggles and the radio controller. So let's maybe start with these goggles here. First looking at them, I thought they look really great. So the screen is detachable. These are magnets on there. There's the lens. So that's actually really neat that you can just detach the screen. And it actually does come with some mounts, so you can put those on a tripod. You can use this to put the screen on a tripod if you don't want to use the goggles. Only downside, I mean, while trying these goggles, I just put them on my face first, and they were completely out of focus. So I was wondering what the hell is going on. And then I realized, okay, you have to extend those. There's 3 positions, as you can see. 3 positions, and now these start to look less good. Start to get a bit more bulky. And this mechanism, I really don't like this mechanism. And weirdly, I mean, for me, I really have to extend them all the way just to get stuff barely in focus. It still feels slightly out of focus and straining my eyes if I look through this with those fully extended. So, I don't know. Not a huge fan of the goggles because of that. They feel like I have a hard time, especially the edges of the display, to get everything nicely in focus, and my other goggles just feel better. So I think they should have just extended this a little bit more to give you a bit more room to adjust this to the right focus level. It's very unfortunate. Apart from that, I mean, pretty good. SD card slot, everything you need. 2 antennas here. They give you some cheap linear antennas. I'm actually not sure whether this is an actual diversity. I'm just trying to get the antennas out. Actual diversity receiver or not. Don't really think so, but I mean, for the purpose of this, you're not going to go very far away, so this thing is probably absolutely fine. So I would say decent manufacturing quality, maybe not slightly, I don't know if it's, I mean, it's very subjective that I feel like I have a hard time getting the screen in focus perfectly. Might be not an issue for other people, but I just wish I could extend these a few millimeters more. But apart from that, the goggle looks pretty cool, and the sort of detachable screen idea. I mean, I've seen this before on Ishin goggles, but this is the best implementation I've seen so far. With these magnets here, the screen quality is pretty decent. So, I mean, it's not a bad goggle to start. Maybe you should try it out first if you have the issue of getting things in focus. But apart from that, this is a pretty solid goggle, I would say. And if you use it as a screen on a tripod, then it's actually very nice. All right, then the radio controller. So this is a rather light little controller. And honestly, I'm very surprised how good the ergonomics are. This thing looks, I mean, it's a very, very simple design, but for some reason, at least for me, while thumbing or especially when pinching, this thing is very nice. Because it is so light, you don't need a strap. No need for a strap. It's very, very light. It's actually super easy to hold and I mean, this thing feels very, very nice. Button here to switch it on, and I like these simple controllers. No screen, nobody needs a screen for an FPV quad. This is actually for a beginner very nice. Now you have to keep in mind that this is something you're probably going to grow out of, because unfortunately it does not have a module bay, so you will not be able to extend this with Express LRS or Crossfire or anything else. So this is sort of limited to FreeSky D8 or D16 it is running on there. Pretty limited range, but for starting off, this is fine. Because it feels very nice. The gimbals actually feel very high quality. These feel super nice. They have a nice stick travel, so this thing really doesn't feel like a toy radio controller. This thing feels like a high quality controller, and I mean, if you're closing your eyes and not looking at it, or you have the goggles on your head, this just feels like any other high quality radio. So, sort of like this thing for the purpose that it's made of. I just wish it had a module bay. I mean, that would be nice to give you the option at least. Or, I mean, we have Express LRS now. Why not go for Express LRS right away and ditch the 8 D16, which is completely outdated? Now, I understand that maybe Emax wanted to cut some cost, but well, and for the purposes of this quad, it's okay. But in the future, I just wish that the 8 D16 will completely disappear when you have Express LRS in these beginner radios here. And by the way, this thing is powered by an 18650, which is already in the box. Very nice, all included, and you can just USB charge it. So I would say that thing is, for the beginner, an absolutely good starting point. So other stuff in the box, there's a battery. Unfortunately, only one. I mean, they could just have included 3 of these. I mean, why not? To get you started, so you don't have to purchase another item. But well, okay. Keep in mind that you'll have to buy some of these cheap 450 1S batteries on top. There's a little USB charger here. I actually preferred the old one they had because it could charge 3 batteries. This one can only charge 2 batteries. 1S and 2S. Actually can charge 4. You could charge some 2Ss here, but it's useless if you're buying this package because it's 1S. So you can switch between high voltage and regular charge, so 4.35 or 4.2 volt. The battery is HV, I think, so this will... yes, it's an HV. You can HV charge it, or not. It will cost a bit of flight time not to do it, but your batteries will last longer. So honestly, I personally wouldn't use this HV option here as a beginner. And then you have some stickers in there. A hex key. Why on earth is there a hex key inside? That's an interesting question. I think it's might be to mount the screen. Yeah, I think it's to mount the screen on this tripod mount here. But in any case, you're gonna have this at home anyway. Not sure why they would include stuff like this and not some extra batteries. That's also part of the tripod mount. Some tiny tools and screws. This is always nice to have these replacement screws. micro USB. I think they should all stop including micro USBs. We all have so many at home. I have like at least 20 or 30 micro USBs. This is just a waste of resources. Why do manufacturers still include one of these in every box? I mean, just ditch this one and put an extra battery in there Everybody's got a micro USB at home, but okay. And some extra props. So basically all you need to get started. You just have to get some extra batteries as a beginner, because I mean this thing is gonna give you like 2 minutes flight time, so you're gonna need some extra batteries. But still, since you have the USB charger, I mean maybe you get like 5 or 6 batteries, a power bank, put this thing in a power bank, and then you can charge your batteries in the field. So this is actually quite nice. So that's what's in the box. Now let's get outside and fly this thing. And honestly, I'm not expecting huge revelations here, because this is a proven platform that I've actually used quite a lot. But nevertheless, let's go outside and fly this thing. All right, so good news first, this thing flies very nicely. So now I haven't flown one of the older Tinyhawks recently, but from what I remember, it was more of a rough and wild ride. Well, this thing feels extremely in control and very smooth. So I think what Emax did is refine the tune here, and maybe also the new frame. It's just a little bit stiffer. So this thing feels very, very much in control. It's very sort of gentle and smooth and extremely easy to fly, in my opinion. Now, it's got a decent amount of power. So enough power to not make it difficult to fly because of lack of power, but not so much power that it actually is too much and it's difficult to handle. Now, I think for an experienced pilot, this thing might even be a bit boring if you're not in super close proximity flying. But still, indoors, it could be very nice. The only issue I had is actually with the DVR. So all the video glitches you're seeing here in the feed like this, I didn't have that in my FPV feed. The FPV feed was pretty clean. I'm not sure if that's the DVR or if I just don't remember having that much glitches and noise. But I really think I didn't see that much noise. So that was pretty weird. But actually, honestly, I don't care too much about the DVR in these goggles. It's just for cases where you lose the quad and you don't remember where it crashed. It's nice to see the video. For everything else, the video is, it's analog goggle DVR. It's not very useful anyway. So no big deal for me that the video feed doesn't look too nice here on the DVR recording. So overall, I would say very, very nice product, especially for beginners and also for experienced pilots. I would say if you're flying indoors and you just want a quad that is perfectly set up and ready to go with a nice tune, the Tinyhawk here is something to go for. Alright guys, hope you found this useful and thanks for watching.